All right, let me take that down. Let me just make sure we're live because that would be terrible if we weren't. All right, we are live.
Yay!
We are live. All right, perfect. Okay. So, guys, what's up? Hi, welcome back. If you're new, welcome. My name is Jordan from Boss Life in Progress. This is my segment, Is It Friday Yet? And typically I do these on Thursdays, but I have a very special guest here. So, we're going to do it on Monday because it's my show and I can do what I want. So,
Yes.
I would love for you, Stacy, to introduce yourself and to tell us the infamous question that everyone hates. Tell me about yourself.
Thank you, Jordan. First of all, thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. My name is Stacy Phoenix. I am a soul healing coach, and I help ambitious women and men heal at the soul's core and try to help them discover true happiness towards their leadership or whatever it is that you're trying to overcome or gain. I have 5 certifications. I am a Reiki Master. I have a certification in Chakra Therapy, life coaching, spiritual coaching, and divine healing. And I've been doing this for about 4 years now. It's the most amazing thing that I could do is to help people. Most rewarding, other than being a parent.
Yes. Uh-huh. How old is your son, daughter?
My daughter, she's 5,
Daughter.
but she's 5 going on 15. Is a little bit, different.
Yeah.
Sassy.
Girls can
Do you
be.
have,
I
do you have
don't.
any? Okay.
I don't. But I'm a girl myself, so I know we can get sassy.
Yes, yes. Yes, we can. Absolutely. In the best way, though. It's not a bad thing.
Yes. Yes. So one of the questions I like to ask guests is about typically what they do, because a lot of times people that are here live or people that are watching this recording or the replay, excuse me, they want to know what else can I do? What other jobs can I have? So
Yes.
what advice would you give someone wanting to pursue a career or a business like yours?
In coaching?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a great question. My number one advice for anyone who's interested in pursuing a career in coaching is to believe in yourself, believe in your abilities, and more importantly, believe in your business. It's so important to have that confidence for all 3 aspects, because if you lose confidence in one, you will struggle in being successful. So you have to always remind yourself that I can do this. My business is the real deal. I'm the real deal.
Yes.
And I have everything that I need to help others, and I have whatever it takes to make everything happen for myself and to guide whoever needs my services into the direction that they want to go in. So
Awesome. You talked about confidence. Can you talk a little bit about how confidence integrates in the healing process?
absolutely, confidence and trust, it's, I would say, the most important factors in the healing process, because confidence and trust has to come from both sides, on my side and also my client's side. um, I have to have confidence in myself, in my abilities, and I have to also trust myself in my abilities to know that I am going to help this person heal and get them where they want to be. And then I have to have confidence and trust in my client in knowing that they will do the work and be honest with me. And because if they're not doing the work, there's only so much I can do for them to heal. And on the client side, they have to have confidence and trust in me in telling me personal stories and personal issues that they may have. And that's truly important. Confidence and trust in telling me and leaving it up to me and knowing that I will not tell another single soul anything. And also they have to have trust and confidence in themselves to heal, to put in the work and to grow. You have to put in the work in order to grow, in order to change for the better. Being in the same position in life is not going to help you pursue what you want. So it's very, very important. Confidence and trust.
Yeah. I like that. And I like the last thing you said. You said staying where you are right now is not going to help you grow. A lot of the times when people lack confidence, they lack confidence in themselves to move forward. And I was just talking about this with a previous guest, and we were talking about how people fail to communicate what they want because they have a fear of things like rejection, and rejection causes trauma, and people don't want to have that hurt or that kind of negativity. And so they'd rather stay in their uncomfortable state than move on and heal and find that confidence in themselves. And the saying is, it's better a devil you know than a devil you don't, or something like that.
Yes, yes.
And I'm just like, what? Like, okay, that's what this is. I literally, when I asked the question to a group and I said, why do people not move on? Like move on from bad jobs and like bad bosses and stuff. And someone literally quoted that to me and I was like, wow, okay. That makes, I mean, it makes sense because people are they don't want to re-experience that kind of work trauma. Can you talk a little bit more about how something like, like a toxic work environment or a toxic, personal environment can really affect someone?
Oh yeah. In terms of change and growth.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah. That's actually a great question because that's usually what it is. When someone gets comfortable in being in a toxic environment, that usually means that they're afraid. It stems from fear of change, fear of leaving the situation because they're so complacent in the position that they've been in for so long that they don't know anything different, and they could be manipulated into thinking that this is it for them. Okay, so if you feel that this is it for you, this is all you're worth, being in a toxic work environment, being in a toxic that home dynamic relationship, you are worth more than that. Okay, it stems from fear of leaving because there probably been things have been put in their minds into thinking that this is all that they deserve, which is not true. We all deserve more. We all deserve to be in a happy environment, a healthy environment, more importantly, whether it be at home or work or, in any type of relationship. So I think when you touched upon rejection, fear of rejection, I don't feel that rejection is a bad thing. I think rejection is a great thing. Bless you.
Thank you.
Rejection is a great thing because in my eyes, in my mind, it's God's way of protecting you. It's the universe's way of protecting you. So if you get rejected, take it as a blessing. Like that was not for me. It could have been a bad situation had you gone down that road. So I think rejection is a great thing, and I think also rejection is a great way to build humbleness and confidence. Because if you are confident all the time, if you've never been rejected, there's a good chance that you become cocky and overconfident.
Right.
So being rejected and handling rejection well is, in my opinion, good for the spirit. It actually humbles you and gives you a healthy level of confidence, a humble confidence. And like, I can do this. Even though I just got rejected, I can still do it. It's still going to happen for me versus, having a very cocky attitude about whatever the situation is.
Agreed. I think you don't want to be overly cocky, and I think sometimes it seems like people are either overly cocky or they don't know how to like communicate their value, and that stems from, like you said before, not really knowing and understanding your value. Like we as human beings, I think we intrinsically value ourselves like a lot,
right?
But I also think that we don't know how to articulate that. Like our communication skills are ridiculous. And we don't know how to say to another human being, hey, I am valuable, I am worthy, without maybe us feeling, hey, maybe I'm being cocky, or like, and you're not being cocky. You're literally just telling someone else, hey, I'm valuable. This is what I will and will not stand for. And you're trying to communicate that to people.
Yeah. And I don't think there's anything wrong with saying your worth, speaking your worth. And especially when you're in the workplace, it's so important to tell people your worth, your value. Because if you're not valuable, then people will see that, and you lose respect from your colleagues. There's a less chance of a promotion.
Yeah.
Like, you may know in your heart how valuable you are, but if you don't say it out loud, say, I'm the best at Excel, or I'm the best at this program. If you don't say that out loud, you may not be the best, but if you want, you can say, I'm one of the best. That's okay. Say it out loud. Let people know. Leave your trail of fingerprints and let people know what you're capable of, because at the end of the day, it will be rewarding. Because when I was in the workforce, that's exactly what I did. I went from having a lack of confidence and realizing that it wasn't benefiting me in the workplace. So I just started dropping seeds in people's minds, like, this is what I'm capable of, because I know in my heart that I am, and that's exactly what I did, and it benefited me. I received promotions and everything. So
yeah, I think you're spot on, because a lot of times people, and it's so unfortunate, but a lot of times being good is not enough. You have to be good and then let people know that you're good, right? Your work will speak for itself, but you also need to speak for yourself.
Exactly.
A lot of times I work with young professionals and they're like, well, if I just put my head down and work hard for like 3 years, then maybe they'll see me. I'm like, no. We're going to work hard, but we're also going to tell people, hey, I'm here. This is me. This is the work that I do in order to build that confidence. Because if you're always saying, hey, I'm just going to keep my head down and work hard, no one's going to notice you. And even if the person next to you is working half as hard as you, if they're always, communicating their value and showing people, hey, this is the achievement that I have, then obviously, they're making those connections, they're networking, they're communicating, and they're going to be the ones that, get that promotion or get that job over you, because you don't have that confidence of, putting yourself out there. And speaking of communication, I want to ask, because it's kind of piggybacking off of the last conversation I had, but how valuable is communicating when it comes to overcoming negative people and places?
Super valuable. If anything, it's so important, because if you're in a position that there are negative people around you or in a negative place, you have to voice that in the most respectful and professional way. And there are ways to communicate that. Instead of saying, oh, I hate it here, you can say, this is not the position I want to be in right now. You know what I mean? There are ways to be professional and to be respectful without coming off as rude or saying it bluntly. And saying things in a way where people will still remain and will still have that respect for you, because you're giving them respect. And by saying, instead of, oh, I hate it here, say, this is not the place I want to be. This is not the position I want to be now. Or, if somebody's being negative, try to shift that out and say something positive. You have control over everything that you can say or do, no matter where you are, no matter who you're with. So communicating on a higher level where it's respectable for yourself and others is very important. It's key. And there are so many ways you can do that. I teach people how to speak to others in their home with my clients, to tell them what they want to tell the other person in a respectful way. And communication is so important. It's not just about communicating, it's about the delivery.
Yes.
The delivery is important. You can feel what you feel, you can say what you want to say, but you have to be mindful, put that filter on, and deliver it in a way where it resonates with the other person, where they can understand you without feeling offended.
One of my biggest pet peeves is when someone says, I'm not being real. I'm not being rude. I'm being real. No. Yeah. You're being real rude.
You're being rude.
You're being rude. And there's a way for you to articulate yourself without you know, being, like you said, super blunt and offending someone else or offending someone else's like morals or principles or whatever. There's a way for you to voice your opinion without having to put down others. And I strongly believe that.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's like a whole class to be taught.
That's a whole hour we ain't got right now. Oh my goodness, that's actually a really good idea. I'm like, let me write that down.
Yeah, seriously, we could do one together. It'd be funny.
Yes, that would be so awesome. I love collabs. If people don't know by now, like after seeing all these segments that I'm doing, I love collabs. I love working with different people and getting different people's perspective, because I am just an island of me and I don't know everything. So I love bringing on experts such as yourself so that we can actually talk and learn and listen to different perspectives.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I love hearing different aspects. That's how we grow, you know, collectively. You know, we're in a business of helping others. So learning different types of coaching and different techniques to do different things and getting different perspective, it helps us grow. So kudos to us.
Speaking of your healing, what is your major focus when healing? Is it trying to get to the root of someone's past? Is it trying to help them move forward? Like, what's your major focus?
Both. My main focus is to get to the root of their whatever. I don't like to say the word issue, but you know, whatever they have going on.
Right.
All the way from their childhood.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. We're not healing anything from the last 5 years. We're going deep into that soul, because if you want to truly heal, you have to heal it all. Because if you're only healing things from that happened most recently, you're healing the things that happened most recently. You're not truly healing your spirit. You're not truly healing your soul. If you want to have true happiness, if you want to have true confidence, you have to heal your entire spiritual being to move forward in the way that you want to move forward, whatever it is that you desire for yourself. My program is 6 months out, and I break it out from childhood to adulthood. So it's a whole process. It's not just I sit here and I speak to you. No, it's a whole process. We're going to dig deep. So if you're ready for that, come talk to me.
Yes, guys, if you are ready to heal those childhood traumas, I need you guys to go and check out Stacy. But something that I get a lot, or something that I see a lot rather, because I work in both the technical and the mindset. And so I'm working with like resumes and documents, but I also work on the mindset, making sure, you know, imposter syndrome, all that stuff. When you're talking and you're speaking, are you getting that? I don't know if you've heard this phrase before, like you work in the woo woo.
Yes.
Yes. And I said that phrase to someone else and they were like, what? And I was like, it's called the woo woo. And people, they kind of want to disregard the woo woo, and they want like the top 10 tips to do this and, you know, the top 5 hacks to do that. And then I say, well, I can give you all the tips and tricks and hacks and techniques, but if you're not ready for them, like internally, it's not going to help you, because you're going to go back to the same bad habits. So can you kind of speak on getting to the woo woo and how to changing your habits, especially for those who are finding themselves stuck in like this hamster wheel of professional and personal life?
That's a great question. I honestly believe that you have to really, and a lot of people don't like to do this, look at yourself.
Oh.
Yeah. Put a mirror up to your own face and look at yourself. That's the very, very beginning of everything. You have to be open and honest with who you are, what you've done in your past, what you plan to do in your future, what you're doing right now. That's self-sabotaging.
Yeah.
You know, it is, because sometimes we're comfortable in our own destructive ways. That we don't want to leave, but you know, that's why there's people like us to like help push you out build that confidence that if you do leave, I promise you things will be better and the universe will give you more than what you've asked for. You know, you have to grow internally. You must grow. In order to grow, you have to face yourself.
Oh, yeah, that was deep. No, you're right. A lot of people don't want to face the fact that that it's some of it. Now, obviously, to me, there's situations, there's external, but a lot of it, most of the time, is us, and we don't want to face the fact that it's us. I'm reading this book right now. Oh my gosh, how to win friends and influence people, or I think Dale Carnegie. That one.
I love that book. That's a great book.
I just started. Amazing. And it's like it's so good right as of right now. I'm still trying to find time to read it in between all this work, but he talks about how people don't respond to like criticism from other people, and that he talks about how you'll always find a way to justify yourself, even if it's not justifiable. Yes. And so with us talking about this, it just popped up in my brain, because I was like, yeah, when someone else tells you did something wrong, you're like, no, it's fine. But when you're actually sitting there and looking and seeing all the bad and all the stuff you don't want, and when you tell yourself, and when you start not so much criticizing yourself, but really taking a look in the mirror, like you said, that's when people really start to change.
Yes. Like you said, it starts from within. Everything starts from within. And I will stand by that. It all starts from within. Because, you know, I always hear, like, I think in society, we've been taught to look on the outside, the external factors of our lives to change for the better, but it's actually not true. It starts from our internal factors, who we are as people. Who our character is, what our habits are, what our patterns are.
Yeah.
You know, what are we doing for ourselves that's good for our soul? What are we doing for ourselves that's not good for our soul? Change that. How can I become a better person? What can I do to better myself in my environment, in who I choose to have in my life? Things like that. So,
yeah. Speaking about taking care of yourself inwardly, and I also want to talk about outwardly, can we talk a little bit about self-care?
Yes.
I think that people they're like, self-care, I'm going to take a bath with a bath bomb. And while that is amazing, love it. We also want to internally take care of ourselves. So can you talk about, how does one go about self-care?
So from the spiritual side of things, this is actually something that I teach my clients. You have to find the right self-care for yourself. The right self-care techniques for yourself, I should say. And you start by understanding what your problems are that you have within yourself. Are you depressed? Do you have anxiety? Do you have insecurities? Do you have lack of confidence within yourself? Do you have low sense of security, intuition, everything? So everything that I have just said is based on all of the chakra wheel, your 7 chakras. Each one of your chakras hold a barrier. They hold a place in your spiritual being. And if one of them is blocked, then problems will arise, like depression, anxiety, heartache, grief, and pain, suffering, all of that. So once you determine which chakras need to be unblocked, that's how you'll know which type of self-care you need, because each chakra has very specific self-care techniques to unblock them. And I always advise, like, you know, I have a certification in Chakra Therapy. So if someone says to me, I have anxiety, I'm like, well, that's your heart chakra. What's going on? What's causing your anxiety? Because anxiety can come from many different things.
Right.
A lot of it is from fear. So, so we can go there. So that's your heart chakra, and then that's your root chakra. And then I offer the techniques that I would feel best for them the self-care techniques that will raise their vibration and unblock those chakras. So that's the spiritual side, and I think that's the best way.
The best way of doing self-care is unblocking. Got you.
Yeah.
So you mentioned chakra, and I know you said you had 5 different certifications. So what do you, I guess my question is, I know of chakras, but can you give us a mini lesson on chakras?
Yeah, so chakras is a wheelhouse. It actually is energy circles, energy wheels within your entire being. There's 7 of them. The root chakra is placed on the spine of your body. And what it does is, if it's in balance, then those issues will arise. And if you are balanced, then you will be at peace. And this is a whole nother hour that I can teach as well. But in layman's terms, it's your wheelhouse of balance, yin and yang, for example. If one of them is off, then you'll know. You'll have all types of internal balances. Stress can cause by an unblocked chakra, or your whole entire system is unbalanced. Your whole body is under distress. There's a lot that can go into it, but my number one advice is do and learn whatever techniques that you need to do. Hire a coach, learn some techniques to balance your chakras in order to heal, in order to have confidence, because healing is not just for healing. There's a whole entire umbrella of that word. So much comes from healing itself. You'll have true confidence. You'll have true happiness. You'll have inner peace. You'll have all the things you can desire. You'll unlock your spiritual talents and abilities that you may not know that you have. So there's so much that comes along with balancing out your chakras. And if you want, I can offer a link to some source resources for your viewers, so that way they can have a better understanding, so they can learn some proper self-care for themselves, not just taking a bubble bath, although that is very nice.
That is, I was like, that is nice. I'm going to write this down so that when we get done and I post this up, I'll make sure to put the link in the description. So guys, make sure you go to the description after this loads up, and check out her information. Awesome. You talked about true self-confidence. And I think that's a really important concept, because a lot of times fake it till you make it is the motto of life, of Instagram, of social media, really. Fake it till you make it. Right. And you see so many people posting up the best of their lives, which is fine. It's awesome. It's social media. So it's, but behind that, are they truly happy? Are they truly, confident? And I think that you kind of hit the nail on the head. Like, to be truly confident and to be truly happy, you kind of have to make sure, you kind of have to deal with the stuff that, life is throwing at you, and life has thrown at you, say in your childhood, or even you said, you go from childhood to adulthood. And I think that's super important. True self-confidence, what is that to you?
I love that question. True self-confidence, to me, in my opinion, is believing in yourself and your abilities and who you are, your character, everything, your entire being, so much that nothing will ever get in the way of that. And the only way that something will get in the way of that is if you allow it to. True self-confidence is having full control of your mind, your thinking, your words, articulating everything well with respecting yourself. There's so much that falls under the umbrella of true self-confidence. So, I think that having true self-confidence is so important in the result of healing. And for anyone any of your clients who are listening and watching, having true self-confidence is one of the keys to success. Because if you don't believe in yourself, who's going to believe in you really? And faking it until you're making it will only take you so far.
Right.
Because it takes a lot of energy to fake it.
Yes.
And you'll be tired a lot. I will tell you that. If you're not tired now, you'll be tired later.
Agreed. I remember when I first started getting on YouTube and getting on camera even, and I was just so nervous. And I was like, how could I be a confidence coach when I don't want to be on camera? But it's like, it's something you practice, and it's something that you have to get used to. And a lot of people, they don't want to practice the type of confidence they want to have. And the only way you can get it is by I'm not saying like you need to get on stage and speak to 1,000 people, but these little uncomfortable things that take us out of our comfort zone, those are the things that I think you can actually practice. And then at some point when you're truly, you know, you might not be super confident 100% of the time, but you know that you're truly confident because you know what you're saying, you know where you're going, and you know what you're doing. Right. So I think it comes from practice and just being out there, out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, and I would also like to add, it also comes from knowing what's preventing you to have that confidence that you know you deserve to have. Learning about what's causing me or what's stopping me from putting myself out there. What's stopping me from telling my coworkers what my amazing abilities are. Is it fear of what other people would think of you? Is it fear of being judged? Because those fears are things that you have in your mind. Because at the end of the day, people will have their thoughts and opinion of you. People will judge you no matter what. The most important thing is how you feel about yourself and your abilities, what you're capable of. And who cares if you make a mistake? We all make mistakes. Just own it. Like, oops, I did that. It won't happen again. Just own it. Fix it. It's not a big deal. It's only a big deal if you make it a big deal.
Ooh.
So.
Love it. Only a big deal if you make it a big deal. Yeah. I think I work with like young professionals, so I classify that as about 21 to 35, but I've worked with people that are older and young, older. And what I find is, oh my goodness, sometimes we have so much pride that we cannot admit to our mistakes, and we refuse to even try to learn from them, even if they're tiny mistakes. It's like, you know, instead of moving on and learning from it, it's, oh, woe is me, I made a mistake, it's the end of the world. And and then we revert back to those teenage years of angst that we all had, and we're like, I'm never going to be able to do anything ever again. But I think that getting over that is truly important, and being able to move past your mistakes. And I want to talk about like anxiety and fear, because I think a lot of people have those two things, whether it's professionally or personally. And so how do you start healing from anxiety and fear, especially when it comes to doing something new or like even going to a new place?
I think it's really trying to understand where it comes from. What's causing that fear and anxiety? What are you afraid of? You know, what's making you anxious? Really ask yourself those questions. Like, what is this really coming from? Am I afraid of what people would think of me? You know, that's the number one thing. Like, we all have like that thought in our minds that, you know, what if people don't like me? Or what if people see me as something I'm not? At the end of the day, I always tell myself, and I always tell this to my clients, if they are not meant for you, then they're not meant for you. It's a positive mindset shift. Instead of thinking that what if they do like you? What if they do like you? What if they see my quirky attitude? What if they see how smart I am? What if they see my abilities? What if they love what I bring to the table? positive mindset shift. Instead of thinking of things in a negative way, shift your mind into thinking of things in a positive way. What will be better for me versus what will go wrong, So
Yeah.
I think understanding those fears and anxiety, and also basically shutting it down. Because it's all in your head, really. It really is all in your head. And that's okay. We're all people. Our minds are made to solve problems. And so if there isn't a problem really lingering around, it's our brains are incredible problem solving tools. So, it's always looking for a problem to solve. But you have to be mindful and realize that does this problem really exist?
I like that. I think sometimes we make, like you said, it's only a big deal when you make it a big deal. Yeah. And it comes to a point where we're kind of, that feeling that everyone's looking at you. Most of the time, nobody's looking at you. Nobody's paying attention. They're wrapped up in their own world, in their own bubble. And so we're like, everyone's looking at me. Nobody's looking at you. People
They're
are
trying to survive themselves.
Exactly. People are far too interested in themselves to be looking. Mm-hmm. And I think that is another thing that I encounter working with younger people, is that it's like, okay, this is my first big girl or job, and what if this happens, and what if that happens, and they have that anxiety and that fear, and I'm like, well, we haven't even gotten there yet. So you're making up all of these problems. We haven't gotten there yet.
Yeah, like what if it doesn't happen?
Exactly. And I think and that brings us back to the woo-woo, which is the mindset, and helping people shift. I think people kind of get coaches confused a little bit about what we do. Mm-hmm. And it's not so much like, we're not going to tell you exactly what to do. We're going to help guide you there. And so one of the things that I like to do is actually, I see the benefit. I really do. And I would love to write resumes for people, but that's not something that I personally want to do, because I feel like you the best, right? And it's in the same thing for you. Like, you just can't, say a couple things over someone and now they're just divinely healed or whatever.
Right.
They have to work with you, and they have to go through the process. And I feel like it's the same thing with documents. When people are like, oh, do you write resumes? I'm like, no, I don't. I can help you learn how to write it, but I'm not going to do it for you.
Exactly.
Because they know themselves best. And even with your clients, right? They know themselves the best. Like, you are just meeting them, or you've had maybe a short relationship with them, as far as you guys have been maybe emailing back and forth, hey, I want to work with you. But you as an individual know yourself best. And I think we kind of get to this point where we're like, okay, well, somebody's going to do the work for me.
No. No. No one's going to do the work for you. Sorry. You have to do the work yourself. And why wouldn't you want to do the work yourself? It's so rewarding. Mm-hmm. It's so rewarding. And you feel like you've earned, when you get the benefits of the success or the achievement or meeting that goal, it's like instant gratification.
Exactly.
And
that's actually a good one too. I didn't think about this, but you just said instant gratification, and I know for a fact we're in a society where instant gratification, people, they want things done now, and they don't want to continue to get out of their comfort zone and struggle. And so I guess my question for you is maybe with the people you work with, how do you get people to kind of get out of that zone and realize that, hey, I need help and I need to move forward? Or do people already come to you like that?
People already come to me like that. Because that's how I market myself. I reach out to people who are in the position where they're ready to learn and move forward. Because it will not work if the person is not ready. And I'm not here to push anyone or try to force anyone to do something they're not ready to do. It has to happen naturally in the way that it should. I cannot go against the universe. So it's important that when someone is ready to do something, ready for change, they have to be ready themselves first and realize that it's needed. So,
yeah. And when someone's ready to act, like they're ready to act, what advice would you give them? They're like, this is it. I'm ready for change. I'm ready to go. What's the first thing that they need to do?
The first thing I would tell them that they need to do is focus on themselves, because the moment you decide to change, to heal, you cannot take focus off of yourself. And it's so easy to do, especially when you have other people living around you and you're caring for others. Like if you're in a relationship or you have a family or, children, it's easy to be selfless and think about others. But it's a great thing. But when you're healing, you have to put yourself first, because at the end of the day, anyways, if you're not at your best, how will you be able to take care of others at your best?
Exactly.
You have to be at your best first. You have to be, bringing your A game. You have to be happy and fully healed. And people also can catch that energy. Like if you're unhappy, people will know.
Yeah.
And if you are happy, people will also know. So, what type of energy do you want to give out to other people around the people you love, really? So focus on yourself. It's a journey, and a great one at that.
Yeah, I think focusing on yourself is definitely important. And in the context of what I do, I get a lot of people that will say, I really like this job. I really like the people. Maybe the pay sucks, but I like the people. So I feel like my loyalty is to the people and to the company. I'm like, I'm like, your loyalty it needs to be to yourself, because that's how you grow. When and like you said, it's easy to be selfless. It's easy to be that person that goes, hey, no, you know what? I'll do that extra 5 hours of overtime today. Like it's easy to always want to be like, unfortunately, I don't want to say it like this, but like a people pleaser. Right. And you're kind of always trying to one up yourself in the minds of others when you should be trying to like internally fix whatever's going on and figure out, how do I become the happiest, best me? Because if you're happy, then the people around you are going to, should be happy as well. Because when you're happy, you tend to want to make other people happy.
Right. And it comes naturally. Once you're truly happy, like your presence will make other people happy. You don't have to do much of anything. And also you touched upon something very important that I feel that your clients needs to hear, is that if you are truly healed and happy and have true confidence in the whole nine, the work that you produce will also show. So you can put in the 5 hours and be the people pleaser and not focus on yourself, or you can put in the 5 hours, be a people pleaser and giving them your best work without putting in a lot of effort. It will just flow naturally, So that's that's a huge benefit, I think.
Yeah, I think it's good to. I'm talking like I'm 50, but I've come to the point where in life, I'm like, and more some people are like, you haven't even been alive that long. But I've come to the point in life now where I want to be happy. And most people would say, yeah, I want to be happy, but are you willing to make that change and grow in your life in order to be happy? And when you ask people that, they're like, yeah. And then you're like, okay, change. And they're like, no. No, thank you. And you're like, but you said you wanted to be happy. Yeah, but I didn't mean that. Like, I didn't mean that type of happy. I meant, I'm just going to stay here in my comfort zone. And I think the healing and the coaching that you do is super important, because a lot of people, they don't realize that maybe, maybe it's not all this technical stuff. Maybe it's not the, hey, I need to, and school is important, but hey, maybe it's not, I need to go back to school. I need to get 5 more certificates. I need to do this, this, and this, and this, right? Maybe it's about coming in and sitting quietly with yourself and trying to figure out what it is. Or maybe it's coming to Coach Stacy and helping you guys together figuring out what it is. Because sometimes I feel like people they don't know what the problem is.
Right. Because we weren't taught to know and learn what the problem is. Mm-hmm. In our society, we're just taught to build and do external things, external work. Mm-hmm. We weren't taught to do internal work. And which is unfortunate, but it's great for the people who are running a business to hire someone that can do external work.
That's true.
But you want to you have to invest. Like, if I was to own a business, I would invest into my employees for their mental and emotional and physical health. Because if they're in their tip-top shape in all 3 aspects, I will know that they will give me their A game and their all in the best performances. So, it goes along with that. And but also, I don't feel that. I mean, money is a motivator, but so are goals for yourself.
Yes.
I mean, you can have a company tell you that you need to go take walks during your breaks and stuff. Mm-hmm. But, why aren't you telling yourself that on your own?
Oh, that's good.
Like, are you just doing it because of your job, or are you doing it for yourself? You have to do it for yourself. That's where the true benefit comes in.
When you do things for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All the big rewards.
I agree. That was very deep. I love that. I want to, because obviously I want to be cognizant of everyone's time. I want to ask you this question, and if I come up with more, we'll see. But it is, Women's History Month, and that is why I'm bringing on fabulous women to talk about what they do and how they help other people, because I always believe in collaboration over competition. And so I want to know, what is one of your best pieces of advice for ladies suffering from imposter syndrome?
Ooh, that's a great question. My best piece of advice is, you are the real deal, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Who cares?
It's simple. Who cares? Who cares?
Like, I have people, I talk to a lot of people, and they have doubts in my abilities and stuff. And I'm like, but you don't know who I am. I have a lot that I can bring to the table. And so do you. You have a lot that you can bring to the table. All women have a lot that they can bring to the table. It's a matter of whether or not they're ready to, or they choose to.
Ooh, I like that. I do think it's a matter of, like, you have to get yourself ready. And like I was saying before, back in probably closer to the beginning of this interview, I understand there's situations and there's all types of like external things that may make it harder for people. But I also believe that you have, especially it's 2021 at the time of this, and there's so much, especially if you're living in like America or Canada or whatever, it's there's so many resources for you to utilize and to help you move forward. And like you said, it's something that you have to choose to do, and you have to choose to move forward. You have to choose to let people know you are the ish, and that you are capable of anything. And I think people sometimes forget that they are capable of so much more than they do on the daily.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's all about tapping into it and believing in yourself and making that choice to let people know. And I think it's important that people should know what you are capable of. You know, you never know who will benefit from your own abilities and your skills. You never know.
Exactly.
So there's always somebody out there that will need you for something.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And use those skills, ladies. Use them.
Yes. Don't hide it. We want to see
it. Exactly. Well, thank you so much for being on this, being on my segment.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was so fun.
No. Can you let the viewers know and the people that are watching the replay where they can find you?
You can find me on Facebook under Stacy Phoenix, Instagram under Stacy Phoenix Coaching, that right there. And I'm also on Clubhouse under Stacy Phoenix as well.
Ooh, Clubhouse. Yes. So fun. That's a whole nother hour of
I know.
Yeah. But thank you again, guys. Make sure that you go down in the description below. I will have her information there and the links that she talked about. As you guys know, you can find me at Naturally by Jordan on Instagram, and you can find me at my website, www.bosslifeinprogress.com. Thank you guys again so much for watching, and hopefully you guys like soaked in some knowledge from Stacy, and thank you guys again, and thank you, Stacy, for coming on to the show.
Yes, I'm grateful for the opportunity. Thank you.
All right, thanks. All right, guys, I will see you next time.
Bye. Bye.